Welcome back, everybody, to the episode of the Legion Lads. I am your host, JR, and today we got some MCP players. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Yo.
Man Thing's
Actually,
coming out soon, so yeah.
wait, what's
No,
coming
no,
up?
Screwman thing. Elsa Bloodstone, bro. Oh my God, she looks awesome.
Is it Man Thing Swamp Thing?
No, that's DC.
No. Yeah.
How
Oh,
dare you?
what is Man Thing?
He's
Likes
like the thing.
like something.
Marvel.
Same thing, right?
But different.
You know what annoys me is they came. I don't know if they already came out, but they showed Dracula
Yeah,
and
they're out. Oh yeah,
They're
Dracula. Yep.
Kang,
dope.
yeah,
Hmm.
and like I get it because they own those characters now. Like even Zeus and all those characters. It's just like all right, kind of separate these things. Like it just to me, it takes me out of the experience. You know what I mean? Where
They're
No,
in the
that
comics.
they're in comics. That's
They're in the
Marvel.
uni they're
well,
in the universe.
sure,
Yeah.
I know they are part of the universe. But I'm talking about even back then in the comics, just like keep it separate. Like Thor is essentially Zeus. You know what I mean? There's very
No,
different.
No.
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 Zeus, Thor,
Is he
Odin,
a
those are all
thunder
different
god?
things.
And what is Zeus? A lightning god? Come on,
No, that's totally different.
tomatoes, tomatoes. That's what we're talking about here. That's what's going on.
Oh, he's racked about MCP. We
Where do
haven't
you
even
think
got
the
to the Star Wars
inspiration
content.
came from for Thor? You know what I mean? So, but anyways,
Norse mythology. What do you mean? Zeus
that's
is
true.
Greek.
That is Norse mythology. But I mean,
So yes,
still,
different.
I don't know. That stuff like kind of gets to me, but it's not a big tangent.
But the models are so pretty.
Oh, I was just talking to John about the Shatterpoint models. I was like, this looks so good. Like makes me
Hmm.
want to play. You know, it's
I need to
just
play more Shatterpoint.
yeah, yeah. But um, today, guys, we were a Legion podcast.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just making sure.
We got some Legion news to go over. You
Well,
know,
we could just be an AMG podcast and cover everything.
that would take forever. I mean, we would have to do like a podcast for each one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have it in me for all that.
Yeah,
Plus we have to do way more podcasts because there's so much Shatterpoint MCP content.
which really is. Like I remember when we were covering Legion and Shatterpoint. It's just like we could pretty much just dedicate an episode just to Shatterpoint every week, right?
Yeah.
But that gets my grind going, you know, because like you guys know,
You're
my first
great.
love is Legion. I love that game, and it got handed off to AMG. They're doing a good job with it, but it's not their
No, they're
baby.
not.
Baby. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, for Legion news, anyways, they came out with some couple things, new errata stuff, and I wanted to go over that. So it's little errata changes, very minor, makes sense a whole lot of them. So the first errata is the Rebel personnel slot has been changed. The upgrades for the personnel for the Rebel Corps.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How do you
Makes
guys?
sense.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about it? You guys, okay.
I mean, it makes sense. It was kind of an interesting proposition to take like a something different in the sleeper cell without, having to spend all the points on on the only the astromech because you're never going to take the sniper guy or whatever he is, the marksman.
Yeah,
It was nice to maybe have a little variation, but I understand why they did it. Yeah.
I mean, I do too. Like 14 dice is very appealing, but I
Yeah.
still think you take the astromech. Like that's just the staple there.
It's just weird when they did it. Why did they do it after they'd already been
It
out a while and people had already been like playing in tournaments with them? Why didn't they already have that preloaded before they even
it's a
released?
it's the Dark Trooper nerf when people are like, "Oh, you're gonna put like uh extra mini in the Dark Troopers. It's gonna have Dark Trooper armor, all that stuff." They, to be honest, I'm not surprised by these mishaps anymore.
Honestly, I think these mishaps are because they don't play any of the old stuff, right? Like we're gonna get to the interview here pretty soon, but it sounds like they're like playing these new things and new stuff way in advance, obviously, because they got to make new product, and like they don't even consider like, oh, this personnel slot means that rebels. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that we have
Well,
now.
they already went through it once though. That's the thing though. They already went through it once. So it had to have been on the radar. So it's maybe it's more likely that they had planned to do it and then they just like someone skipped a meeting and forgot to add that in to the to the schedule. Kind of one of those things because after going through the Dark Trooper problem, this should have been already like pre-thought that, oh, we need to do this.
Well, with when did they come out? They came out in November, right? Sleeper Cell. Sleeper
Yes.
Cell.
Yeah.
And like this is a December. I think this was a quick like oversight, like, oh, we need to errata this quickly because we know that they're gonna do an errata in April and November, or something to that effect of announcements. This came out just this month, and it's just like, oh, we need to fix this.
Yeah, that's why it kind of feels like they did already have it on their plan to fix it, but something just got forgotten.
Yeah. The other change, and I kind of have a pickle with this one, is the Viper Recon melee sidearm. Oh, they gained melee sidearm.
Yeah.
Um, I understand it. I don't like it because in every other faction, if you put an upgrade, they gain the weapon profile and the melee. CIS is the only faction that has personnel upgrades that are restricted by health, restricted by sidearms, and it frustrates me because I'm biased and I want my
Didn't
stuff to
the
be improved.
Viper droid have two white attack die?
That was for range. So if you're in melee, right, you can't shoot. So you have to use the melee profile. But now it has melee sidearm, meaning that it now has to use the 2 white dice at melee.
But it
That doesn't
but,
sound
but you're
right.
saying that it only affects CIS? Well, that's because you're the only one that even kind of has something like that. Like Rebels, most of our extra little things like this are always non-combatants, right? And that,
Well, I mean, the Viper Recon droid to me is kind of I still think they need to fix it because this what it does is it has the 2 white dice, range 1 to 2, and then it gives observe
Mhm.
1, but that's an action to do. So before it was just no one would ever take it because you rather take an aim than an observe, right? And then on top of that, the reason why people started using it was in B2 is because it gave you an extra health, and then you could use the 2 black in melee. Uh, I just I
It's
just
t-
hate. Good.
it's too cheap though. It's too cheap
Sure.
to add that,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's why people were doing it because it was cheap. And I feel like
Mhm.
honestly, I think they should make observe free action, observe 1, and then
It's observe two. Observe two,
oh, observe 2.
right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's a name.
It
It's the
is a
same as a
name.
name.
It is a name, but I mean, I don't know. It's you never saw play for it, and now you're seeing play because it was being abused because of the new 2.6 changes, right? I don't know. It's hard to say because if they gave Observe 2 a free action, you see Vipers in all of the core options, right? And so it's one of those other like the B1s coordinate what could be 1 to 2. No one plays that one. The other one where you can ignore AI, well, definitely no one's gonna play that. In fact, Jose, when you're done with the ATSTs, I have a bunch of B1s I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna use those models as to fill up the big groups just to be unique, but not be played as those actual what they're intended to be played as
You
because they're
monster.
useless. They're horrible. So, what do you guys think about the change?
Again, it's necessary because it's too cheap.
Right.
It just is. It's just where they drastically changed B2s. Like they're not even close to the same unit they used to be. So they had to change it. Um, it was either that or raise the points on it, which then it just kills it in every other unit.
Sure. Sure.
Never
Uh,
used it, so it didn't bother me at all.
Swoop bikes now have Overrun 2 instead of Overrun 1, which essentially is the same thing it's been doing. Um, but I guess the Overrun 1 keyword kind of confused people because they assumed that if you lost the bike, you couldn't do it twice. Whereas now you can do it twice. And if you have 1 bike as opposed to having 2 bikes. Because you know how the usually X keywords stack, which makes sense. If it was intended to be used twice, no matter how many minis in the model, um, yeah, that just makes sense.
Verification. That's
Yeah.
it.
So for a moment there, I thought you could do it 4 times, which I was super stoked. Right? I was like, oh man, that'd be cool if I could do it 3 times because that's the maximum you could do it technically. Couldn't do it 4 times. Cool changes. Just clear up some of the stuff. So not too big there. But we did finally, guys. This has been like 2 weeks out. Get the Aqua droid stats. So we're gonna go over those today. Uh, so the Aqua droid is a heavy unit. It's a ground vehicle, kind of bum, but kind of not at the same time, for obvious reasons. It's 65 points. It has a heavy slot, a comm slot. There's three in there. They have AI attack, move, armor two, infiltrate. The weapon profile is a crushing punch for melee, which is impact one, and it's one rend dice. A laser cannon, which is a 1 to 3, a white and a black. They surge up and down, and they defenses white saves. They're speed one. They don't have a breaking point, and most importantly, they are 3 health. Man, these guys, I like these guys. What do you think, Jose?
They're amazing. What are
Are
you
you
talking about? You get a freak. Ugh, all right. I'm telling you, I was on the and for the record, go back before anybody was like knew anything. I was saying these guys are gonna be amazing because they're gonna be tall, they're gonna be line of sight blocking. I didn't know they were gonna infiltrate, so that makes it better. You have two line of sight blocking, infiltrating. You're gonna pay for the extra model because that's just more chunk, more wall, and you're just gonna drop them where you need to drop them, and everything's gonna be able to scurry behind it. And it's like, bro, what are you gonna do? Like, you can only get so much over like what they're like. All they need to do is be alive long enough to get your worthwhile units through. And to me, that you burst of speed freaking Asajj and you burst of speed Dooku, you throw them all over the top, like, and what they can't see you, and you can position them in such a way, where you can put a maul between them and not be able to be put legally anywhere where you can be pulled out of them or in melee based contact with them. Like, bro, I love it. I love it a lot, dude, because think about it. Here's a wall of indestructible beef. I'm gonna burst the speed my guy over them, and now you have to deal with the burst of speed guy in your backlines, as well as these chunky dudes that are gonna be right there on POIs, helping the little B ones capture POIs without being seen. Like, this is awesome. I don't even care that they don't have any cool weapon stuff. Like, the fact that I can infiltrate wall line of sight off with two of them, bro. I love the AAT. Goodbye AAT.
Nick, being a Rebel player and never playing CIS, how are you gonna feel playing against these things?
Um, well, I view them I also think they're very good, but completely different reasons than what Jose was thinking. I'm looking at it more like what the ATRT does for rebels.
Hmm.
So you you keep them cheap. I don't think you do add the extra guy. I think you keep him at the 65 points. So now you have a 9 health unit that has armor, can throw dice at range 3, can sit on a point, be a consistent activation that is scoring and shooting and being able to survive. And it's only, and again, only 65 points. I think you keep them cheap so that you can take even more stuff in your CIS army, right? Um, and have these activations still be on the board, and yet, and can block line of sight when you need them to, and so forth. But so I think the kind of the reverse, you keep them cheap, and they're just great to stay on the point. And like comparing, so ATRT, right? I mean, ATRT is only 6 health, right? Behind the same armor. True, these ones degrade as they lose models. That's a little different, but they're also throwing more dice, right? Unless you're going to pay, up to now what 70 points if you're going to take the 5 black dice,
Mhm.
which is barely. I mean, this is 3 black, 3 white, right? It's not too. It's a little less, but again, I'm paying a lot more points, paying more points for that. Um, yeah, so I think it like the HRT. It's a
It's
strong, low cost unit that will stay on the board.
so for
Even
me,
good.
for me, sorry, Jeff. For me, I rock a AAT 1 to 2 AATs like in my CIS list. Those AATs come out to like 120 and some change. With just two of these guys with the heavy gun, I'm still saving points because it's only their 65 plus the 28. Like, I'm still saving 20-ish points off of a heavy I normally take anyways, and it's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna be better at it at blocking line of sight.
Well, I mean, the AAT is 165, so you're paying significantly lower amount for
Yep.
3. And then let's go over the heavy
For
unit.
two.
Oh, you said for 2. Um,
Yeah.
so the heavy is actually 28 points. It's a 1 to 3 heavy blaster with impact 2, and it throws 2 reds and 1 white. And I don't know, Nick. I kind of think you throw the heavy with it because
Thank you.
that puts you at 93 points. That's under 100. That's still relatively cheap because like most of the droid stuff in CIS are cheap anyways. Um, and yeah, like I honestly like biased. I was like a little bummed because I wanted all my stuff to be OP, because I'm like CIS. But coming from a balance standpoint, I feel like this is a nice heavy balance. You know what I mean? Just like you said about the ATRT. ATRT is 50 points if it doesn't have the weapon on it, and then for 70 points. So like I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's gonna do a lot more stuff. It's gonna definitely cap a point, and you got the yeah. I think they're gonna be great. I'm definitely ordering too.
I think this is gonna cause some issues with the rebel stuff, and this is why. I think these guys are gonna hit the table, hit them fast, hit them hard. They're gonna be everywhere. Which the last time we had armor significantly impact the game, what did everybody do to counter it? Impact and critical. Right now, there's not a lot of things bringing impact or critical, so the ATRTs can survive. Like they can thrive in something like that. But a natural response to if these things come out the gate on fire is gonna be you're gonna see more RPSs, you're gonna see more impact, you're gonna see more critical, and that's gonna hurt the one thing that's a kind of a linchpin for Rebel List in terms of an ATRT. And then on top of that, we look at Sleeper Cell. What is Sleeper Cell like doing? They're like running out if they can and blowing something up. Well, you can't blow nothing up if I can block you out, and then once they start falling apart, it's like paper. So I think that these guys, if they come out on fire, can impact the rebel side of things, which is why I was in the chat earlier when Rob posted the winning statistics. Globally, the most winning faction is rebels at 55, 56, 56 or 55, and CIS is behind it at 54. Like, okay, cool. You just gave CIS a line of sight blocker that has impact that's going to force everybody to bring impact. I think Rebels are going to take a blindside shot, to be honest. Like, and it's not even their fault.
Yeah, the infiltrate on these bad boys are gonna be really good. Like if you could last first them, they're gonna be pretty solid.
Order
Just
control gets a little wonky, but it is what it is.
yeah, that's kind of also my gripe. I wish CIS had more coordinate stuff, because I feel like that's their identity, but
So
I
wait,
guess
wait, 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 wait,
uh,
wait, wait. You're
Nick's brain just melted.
I know you don't play the game of Star Wars Legion because you play CIS, but most of us have 10 tokens in the bag. So don't be complaining that you have 2 tokens in your bag now, maybe 3.
it's so hard to play the other factions when I played CIS as my first faction because I always build my list to have full order control, and it feels so good. Like, how do you guys even play not having full order control? If I
We
ever
live
pull
on the
something, if
edge.
I pull something out of my bag that I didn't mean to go with, like it just makes me like irk every time I do it. It's like I hate this. This is a horrible mechanic. So you guys need to jump on the coordinate bandwagon. And you guys
You
have
dealt
access.
with it. You dealt with it at LVO when you took Ewoks. Your bag wasn't completely
Sure.
picked.
And that wasn't. I mean, I haven't did it with Shadow Collective, right? I'm not saying that I haven't done it. I just
And
don't
he
like
lost
it.
both. He lost both those years, by the way.
That's true. That's very, very true. um, what was I gonna say though? Is I lost my train of thought. You ruined it, Jose. Can't remember
Sorry,
now.
Aqua Droid's being amazing.
Yeah. I think this is a good change. I think this is a nice unit. I think it's gonna be really fun to play. So kudos. I don't know if it's gonna change. Like I kind of disagree with you, Jose, about kind of counteracting rebels a little bit because Sleeper Cells throws 12 black dice, and that's -2 for armor. That's 10 blacks, right?
The
Now
blacks are
obviously
not reliable though.
it's a 50-50, right? And
Depends.
they're getting
You witnessed
aim.
me throw Son of Skywalker and only hit 2.
That's you though. You're horrible at throwing dice.
That
You should play
that's ac-
Michael.
that's actually just Son of Skywalker. For some reason, that never works. It never
You should
does.
you should talk to Michael. Michael is so amazing at rolling dice. He's always getting them all. Like he's been running 2 sleeper cells at least in every game that I play. And oh my god, they
Not
hit
against
so
me.
hard. They're so hard. That's true. You
I
threw them
I
all with
need to
the
re
BXs.
I
That was a
I
good
need
move.
a I need a rematch against Michael because that we got to run that back. I got to make sure my one off isn't just a one off. I got to make sure that the sleeper cell are
You know
actually
what it was?
paper thin weaklings.
You were in my house, so like the dice gods were just like in favor of you,
It,
just like
that's the day I should have played you.
yeah. And I would have been betrayed. Um, which is I'm shocked, Nick, that you're not gonna get a second sleeper cell.
No, I don't. I
He
don't
likes
like
Rebel
to.
Soup.
I don't like. Yeah, I like to do different units, and I don't.
Don't you have 2 Pathfinders?
I have 3 Pathfinders.
What about your commandos?
Well, I have 3 Commandos, but that's more. That was more when I was buying everything. When I only played Star Wars Legion.
Mhm.
Now I play other games too, so I do buy less Legion because of that for sure. Yeah,
That makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah.
So, um, but yeah, back to the Aqua Droids. They're gonna be solid, gonna be good. Anybody want to add anything to these guys?
Nope, another good unit for CIS.
I mean, the crab droids, I'm still on the fence about. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be
No,
good.
get out of
I
here.
Yeah, I think
I
crabs.
got
I
a
mean,
li- I got a
crabs are
list
good
for
too.
you.
I don't know,
I got a
man.
list
I
for
don't
you,
know.
JR. And all you're gonna do is replace one of the guys with Maul.
Go for it.
Well, we'll get to crab droids first, and I'll go.
What do you mean crab droids? Crab droids have been covered.
Okay, so I came up like, don't get me wrong, I probably drop a Saj and put in Kalani, and this just gets a lot better.
Mhm.
But just for the fun of it, I did 11 activations at 999 points. I did Count Dooku with burst of speed, force reflexes, improvise orders, Asajj Ventress, burst of speed, force reflexes, into the fray, and offensive defensive stance. 3 naked B1 battle droids, 2 B2 super battle droids with the ACM because of points. 2 crab droids with attack protocols, heavy laser cannon, emergency transponder, and 2 aqua droids with the heavy droid.
That seems
So
pretty sick.
you infiltrate the wall.
Yep.
It's gonna be based on what you're doing, but you infiltrate the wall, and then you use the crab droids to pull up Ventress and Dooku, and then you pepper in your B2s and everything else, like kind of rank and file, and then you're just going burst of speed, hop in the wall, and just ambushing everything with your force users while the aqua droids try to pick off everything else.
But
And the
my only
crab droids do work too.
I love it. I love the list. My complaint about it is like I feel like you want the aqua droids to go last on turn 1 because then you can infiltrate and shoot at what's close. In that list, you have to infiltrate them first before Asajj and Duga goes, so they can hide
Well,
behind the
they
wall.
they still the difference is they still provide line of sight for Dooku and Asajj. The only difference is the silhouette difference because the wall silhouette that the Aqua droids have make it like 99% possible you're not gonna get shot.
Sure.
When you use the crab droids,
Mm.
your opponent then has some windows that they can probably, pending terrain, get
Yeah.
shots early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you infiltrate the droids first, the aqua droids first, then they have potential to get shot. They have a potential
Yeah,
to
I get
lose a
that. It's just
model,
like I
and then
said, it's just a
yeah.
W keyless. Like I just need to get over there and just blow everything up.
See what I want to
B2s,
do.
crabs, aquas.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to infiltrate them last so they can shoot, and so they're so tanky. It's like they can march forward and not get shot on the first turn, and then your opponent has to either A, shoot them first the second turn, or ignore them, which they can just cap a point, right? But we'll see. We'll see when they come out. See how they
You
play.
think you think the Dark Trooper keyword would have been too much on them?
Talk about
Yeah,
the double activation.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh well, I mean, they would have
the
had to
Dark
been way more points.
right.
Would have been way more points.
That's what I wanted, but you're right. It would have been way more points, and it probably would have been too powerful, right? Because CIS is notorious for getting very high acts, and now we're getting more high acts and potentially getting passes now because um, you don't count those double acts for when you're calculating passes. So yeah, yeah, but they still look fun. I'm
Unstoppable.
excited. Yeah,
That's what
I
it
can't
is.
wait for them to come out the fish commanders. Like they're coming. You know what I mean?
Talk about was it Riff Tamsin? Is
Is
that
that
what his name is? The
yeah
shark.
the shark guy? Yeah, yeah.
He's coming out in Shatterpoint.
That right. I saw that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm sure that it's just around the corner for CIS. Maybe not.
probably not though. Usually, if they make him in one, they like don't make him in the other.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like who's is Qui-Gon in Shatterpoint yet?
No, mm-mm.
There's
They
gotta be
just
a
they
It's
just
Liam Neeson.
spoiled.
It has to be Liam Neeson. It's
They
his
just
fault.
spoiled Kia Mundi and Shakti. They're coming out soon.
Dude, the freaking the Jedi Padawans they have look cool.
Yeah, but
I,
no, still no Qui-Gon.
it can't be a Liam Neeson thing because
Has to be.
Disney or George Lucas or LucasArts has to have the rights to the likeness of the character, right? Well, I mean, we see him in other games. I think they want to maybe not do. He even appeared in Obi-Wan. I don't know what the
Yeah,
problem here is.
the only thing I could think of is because he was never really part of the war, the
Maul
Clone
wasn't.
Wars.
Make him a mercenary.
But Maul did come back and was more part of it. You know, he did
Right.
he was in not he was in later Clone Wars and then he was in Rebels. So like Maul has been in quite a bit of the timeline actually.
Sure, sure. So
I
why
don't know.
would
I,
they
I
do
I'm
that?
just trying to think of something why why they don't
I
have
don't
him in
know.
anything.
That's so weird.
He was in Star Wars Destiny, right? Was there? I didn't play much Star Wars. Was there a Star Wars Destiny card?
He's not even in Star Wars Unlimited yet.
Star Wars Limited.
He is in
Nope.
Star Wars Rivals.
He was in Decipher Star Wars, the CCG.
See, I'm telling you, he's also in the mobile game. Like he's in games. I just don't know why. Like like okay, everybody wants Gungans. I mean, other than Clone Wars, the cartoon, Gungans weren't really in the war, right? So it's
But they were because they're in the Clone Wars cartoon. They had a whole arc
sure,
with
but like
them.
I don't know. Like okay, who's okay?
They used to have a grand
Aiden.
army.
Aiden was only in one game.
She was in books.
Yeah, books
So was
too.
Qui-Gon.
Yeah, yeah. But again, still after the war. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
fishing.
you're
I'm
trying to.
fishing for a
Yeah,
reason. I
yeah.
don't know why.
It's interesting. Maybe we'll find out later. Hopefully, we do get him because that would be cool to get him.
I would stop playing everything immediately and only play Qui-Gon.
All right, moving on. So Gray Squadron Gaming did an interview with both wheels, the ones that handle Legion and create units and everything. So we're gonna go over a couple things in that interview. If you guys haven't seen the interview, definitely go check them out. Gray Squadron Gaming. It's a great interview, and they also do a lot of great battle reps. Kind of jealous of the battle reps. Like I kind of want to do battle reps like they do. So kind of like an inspiration. But yeah, they play Shatterpoint. Do they do MCP as well?
Not that I've seen, at least. But maybe.
Yeah, they know good games when they see them. That's why.
A lot of not Shatterpoint, sorry. You said MCP. A lot of MCP bat reps are done on Tabletop Simulator.
Really?
Yeah, so if John wants to watch actual
Yeah.
like bat reps for certain factions that he might want to try, he has to go like it's done on
Tabletop.
TTS.
No, don't go watch those. That's it. Yeah, no.
Going blind is what Nick says, so he can beat you with kindness.
Okay, so the things that I took away from the interview, and if anything I don't say, if you guys want to say, let me know. Shadow Collective are not getting big squads. Now, the reason why they said that is the reason why they said that, and it makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Hold on, is because if you had a big squad of Pikes or a big squad of Black Sun, you would take them in the factions that they could be in. For instance, Black Suns could be in Empire and CIS, and then Pike could be in anything. So why would I take Rebel Troopers when I could take a big squad of Pikes?
Yeah, and they
Why would
also
you take rebel troopers when you can take a big squad of Ewoks? That's why I'm angry.
said in so many words that uh they're not the fifth faction. So we kind of have to stop thinking of them as a fifth faction because they're not.
Thank you. I'm gonna say something here. Nick, weren't you on the fifth faction bandwagon?
I disagree with that. They are a
Um.
fifth faction.
Oh, okay,
But
They're a
okay, gotcha.
faction. They
but
are.
but but so they are, but they need to remove those core from the other armies.
You know what they
That's
could?
that's what I think. They should just make a fifth faction and don't let all the other armies take pikes and black suns anymore.
Well, you know what they could
Justin,
do
Justin, yeah.
to solve the big squad issue for Jose is just say Shadow Collective only for the big squads upgrades.
That's my thing. Like, here's the thing. So what Nick just said about them not being a faction, like okay, cool. Take mercenary off of all your bounty hunters, put them back where they belong. Make your big squads Shadow Collective only,
Mm.
and make it a faction. Because here's the thing. Oh, we don't. Why would rebels take? Well, rebels would take a big squad of pikes. No, rebels already taken big squads of melee Ewoks. What are you talking about?
But you're talking about when
Like,
it gets competitive. When people get really
Yeah.
competitive, they're gonna take the best thing, right?
I think
you think a big squad of pikes, two big squads of pikes is better than two big squads of Ewoks?
Yeah, because the big squads and the Ewoks aren't big. They're only 4 extra units.
I think it also leads a little bit to them going this direction is to not have to manage a fifth faction as well. They're still, I think, getting the hang of managing 4 factions. They don't want to add a fifth to the picture and have to now balance that and create units for it. And I think it's simpler. It's simpler if they don't focus on that and it is what it is, and they focus on the 4 factions. I think that's also makes it a little simpler too.
Right. I think that kind of grinds my gears a little bit because like they pretty much said like, hey guys, Shadow Collective, they acknowledge it as a battle force, which it is. It is a battle force. Battle force aren't necessarily going to get new stuff, right? Which
What
sucks
the
because there's 2 battle forces that are unique in the sense that they have units that can only be played in that variation of the game. For instance, the 2 that I'm referencing are the Mandalorians for Shadow Collective and Legray. All the other unique units that you could take for battle forces, you could also play that miniature in its regular faction, right?
And C3PO and
No, C,
Chewbacca.
no
You
C3,
can't take you
yeah,
can't take those in Rebels.
C3PO you can play it as the attachment to R2D2. And Chewbacca you can play it as an ATST, right?
But not in Rebels. Only in the Ewok Battle Force.
No. I'm talking about like just the model itself. You could use as an ATSD.
Oh,
But
I see what you're saying.
yeah, so like
Not
if you
not the unit card.
correct. So like if you were to buy Lugray, you can only play it in the Battle Force, and if you were to buy the Super Commando Mandalorians, you can only play them in Shadow Collective, which sucks because like I get it. You want it Shadow Collective to be a Battle Force, that's fine, but I can't ever play these Mandalorians in anything else. Like there's kind of a dead model, you know what I mean? Which I don't like, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys take on all that.
I've I prefer if they were their own faction and just get them out of all the other armies and just and then give them some more things that they could do. That would be, but that's not going to happen. So um, I I first did not like Battle Force. Now I just say give me more Battle Forces. Give me
Yeah.
a ton more
Yeah.
because if you're gonna do it, then just give me more of them so I have more choices and maybe I could use some of those models, right? What if they gave us another Battle Force that was, I don't know, Rebels that had the Mandalorians in it, whatever, whatever might make sense, right?
Yeah.
Maybe so they could maybe come up with some more things where you could use those models.
Like
my
go ahead. Zach.
my thing is, like Jared said, make it Shadow Collective only. Like, the only reason I could see them not making double squads for Shadow Collective only is because they already have the new printed cards that don't say Shadow Collective only.
Well, and another unit I forgot that you could get that you can only play Shadow Collective is Gar Saxon. And wasn't Gar Saxon working for the Empire?
Yeah, Clan Saxon. The white super
But that
commandos.
wasn't that Tiber Saxon? Wasn't
No,
that wasn't that a different Saxon? There's so
no.
many.
No,
There was a
Gar, because he's in SWU. Gar Saxon is in white armor in Star Wars Unlimited. It's Gar Saxon as a super commando. They were
okay.
helping. They were working. That's what I was saying. Like it's weird that Empire never got their own Mandalorians because Clan Saxon worked for the Empire. They should have balling commandos.
And like to those who are watching and listening, like it's true, you can only play B1s in CIS. So it's like doesn't really make sense my argument. But Shadow Collective is notorious for having so many restrictions, right? And army building. Um, that like Nick, you're right. It should just be its own faction and lift some of the restrictions. Because it pretty much plays like a battle force, right? You can't take everything that's a
It,
mercenary.
yeah, it is and technically it is a battle force. I
Yeah.
mean, in that, yeah. So
Um, any final thoughts on that, Jose?
Uh, just it's a fifth faction whether they want to say it or not. Because everybody looks at it that way. Nobody, at least I don't think anybody looks at it like, oh, it's a battle force. Like they look at 501st as like a battle for force. They look at Ewoks as a battle force. They look at, the Gideon's thing as like a battle force. When people talk about Shadow Collective, like I don't ever think they look at Shadow Collective as a battle force. It's
Well, they do. They very much clarify that
yeah.
that's how they see it.
But
I
you're talking about the player.
know.
You're talking about the players though.
I'm
Look
talking
at as
about
a fifth faction.
Yeah, yeah,
players,
So
yeah.
yeah.
so I'll even go one further. Yes, I do view them as fifth battle force, and I view Ewoks as the sixth battle force.
But you could play them in Rebels.
Not all of them,
Shut
right?
up.
You can't
Shut
play
up.
all of them. You're restricted. You can't take many of them.
Yeah. Like that's
And
another thing too. I don't understand why Lugray's not in Rebels. Like you should be able to take Lugray, in my opinion.
why aren't all of them in Rebels?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's it. Other than the Chewbacca one, right?
No, why is not every Ewok card that
Ewoks
they
should be
Oh,
made
in
a
Rebels.
Rebels?
right.
All of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
It
yeah,
should
Why
have been
why are they why
Rebels.
are any of them mercenaries? They should have all
yeah.
just been Rebels.
I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you there. I'd finally be playing Rebels if I could. Um, but yeah, that's a little frustrating. They did say that there's potential that they will work on more units for those battle forces, but not like as much as they would do the other four factions, which I'm okay with because the four factions are the bread and butter. And there, I do agree with their point. You don't want Shadow Collective to be the best out of all the four factions, right? It just sucks that they're very restricted. I mean, you can only play certain units in that
The
battle force.
the thing that sucks though, like when they said that, like that hit me the wrong way too, because they're like we're gonna be very limited in what we put out for Shadow Collective because they are a battle force, but like the other battle forces are tied to factions that they will change on a whim to add stuff to those battle forces.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, cool. So the way I look at it is like, for instance, they added what did they added it to the Clone 501st. They added what was it? They added something to
Yeah,
the
the
Clone Battle
commandos,
Force.
clone commandos.
No, they added the ARF troopers as being in the battle. Yeah, I
Did
thought it
they
was
did they add the ARF troopers yet in the
yeah.
document?
I yeah, I
Let me
think they
check.
did. Check it. They
Yeah,
added something to it. I think it was the ARF troopers. But my point is these existing battle forces are gonna get new things through the regular faction that AMG will then put into those battle forces. Whereas
yeah.
Shadow Collective is just a battle force that they're gonna limit stuff in because it's a battle force. So all these other battle forces have shots at getting better inside their battle force, whereas the road stops wherever the road stops with the actual original battle force.
You are correct, by the way. They did add ARF troopers to the battle force of 501st. Um,
Like Ewoks are they nodded at it, but Ewoks might get gliders and catapults. Cool.
yeah,
So now what is that's gonna make Ewoks better. you
I mean, they
know.
nodded at that. I mean, it's going to come out like 2029.
Yeah, but
But
still, a range 4, range 5 catapult that throws 2 red. Ewoks will take that all day.
no,
What
it's
are the
gonna
catapults in
it's
Return of the Jedi?
it's gonna throw one. It's gonna throw one white speed one.
No. But
It's gonna turn.
my point is, okay, so then what's
And
the
yes, there were
equivalent?
catapults in Return of the Jedi.
So
Yeah.
what's the, so they hinted at that. Uh Gar 501st got ARF troopers, so 50 so Shadow Collective is gonna get what?
Well,
Like
let's be fair. Let's be fair. They're coming out with all the cards in April, so maybe they're coming out cards for Shadow Collective in April that may change things up.
they said there were gonna be no changes.
I think they said there would be no big squads.
No, but
Yeah,
they
no,
said
no, there's gonna be changes. Like they said mercenaries are changing. They said mercenaries were changing. I remember that because I was like, oh, that means Mando could change.
So, yeah, I think the very confirmation from this is that they won't be getting big squads, but and they didn't say they weren't going to be adding stuff to Shadow Collective. They just said that it's not their main focus on battle forces because, like Nick has said, like I think they're treating battle forces as like they could just, hey, here's a new way to play your units in this faction. And
go back to making them not competitive. Then they should not be competitive.
I honestly, at this point, just make more of them. Then just make
Make more of them.
Yeah,
Make
just
more of
make
them.
more.
Just make more.
No, take them
Yeah.
out. Take them
Well,
out.
here's a good
Make more.
transition. Gungans. Like I'd rather see Gungans and Gar than to be a mercenary unit.
Yeah, and they're probably
Going to
well
be a mercenary unit.
knowing knowing it probably
That's
won't go
Ewoks, but Gungans.
knowing it probably won't go the way I want it to go. They'll probably be Gar, right? They'll probably be part of Gar. But yeah, no, they better be they better be mercenary units since my Ewoks are mercenary units. They better be.
Well, because like I definitely want to see the Dathomires in here, and I'd rather see them in the CIS than Shadow Collect. I mean, than as a mercenary.
I thought they
faction.
hinted at they hinted maybe because they brought that up, and they're like, you wouldn't want to run the Dathomir witches in like whatever other faction. So I think they mentioned that, not for sure, but I hinted at it because, dude, Savage Opress coming out as an operative and Shadow Collective would be sick.
It would be sick. And like that's why I wish we would get the Dathomires in CIS because even though they had a little civil war between them, they still worked for CIS. You know what I mean? So that's where I think that you could play these guys in CIS. The Savage Press work, yeah, he worked for Dooku, right? So he could be in CIS as well. And then they could have their own battle force. Like that's what I would like to see. You could put them in CIS, and then there's a battle force so we can have multiple. A good example is the Wookiees, all right? You can play them in Gar and in Rebel, and then you could play them just as a faction battle force, right? Which is cool.
But those are terrible units.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So you want Dathomir to be terrible units of being
No,
able to be
what I'm
taken
saying,
in CIS?
I like that you have that opportunity
Yeah,
to.
the idea.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's what I want to see. I want to do away with the mercenary stuff, put them in a faction, and then make a battle force out of them where you take
just leave the bounty hunters as mercenaries. That's technically what they are, just mercenaries. All the bounty hunters should keep the mercenary keyword, mercenary rules, make everything else a faction.
I agree with that. Some more sad news for you, Jose, is we're not getting the shield dinosaurs.
We were never getting the shield dinosaurs.
I was so upset when I heard that. He's like, there's like 2 of them, and they're like half of the table, and I'm like, yes, I will paint that. And then they mentioned like, oh, maybe it might just be not for sure, but the Gray Squadron was like, oh, maybe a command card then, which would be dope. Like everything it's shield for.
How could you guys like to see a terrain piece that's faction specific that you can bring and you only get one of them? So a good example is the Gar can have the dinosaur, the Empire can have the AT-AT, and then you bring it and you can put it as terrain and it gives you some kind of boon.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. I
We
mean, it
all
sounds
wanna see it.
fun. It sounds fun. I now maybe that's more of casual play. So you have rules for it for casual, but in competitive, it's just a train piece. And it can still be a pretty cool train piece, right? That you could put on the table.
And I agree with that. Like casual fun, that would be amazing because we all want to see that. We know we want to see these shield dinosaurs. We want to see the CIS gunship or the MITT. Like they're I
What do us rebels get? What do we get?
The Millennium Falcon.
there you go. Yeah, the Millennium Falcon is a good example.
You know those
Uh,
are going to be
uh,
like $600 models,
yeah,
right?
that'd be like a $500 terrain piece.
It would be so cool. That's what we need. But yeah, if you had the Millennium Falcon, though, I feel like that would just take up most of the table. Like as line of sight blocking, like you gotta walk all the way around this
Not
thing.
really. It fit in a cantina in the movie.
Well, it would be like in the middle of a skirmish mat, like the main focus.
There are Millennium Falcons I've seen people use as terrain pieces. Now it's not
But
probably
they're not
size
scaled.
accurate.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
scaled.
they're small.
Moving on. I think this is what Nick wants to talk about the most. Is there are going to be some gin changes.
Mhm.
I'll go over those gin changes, but keep in mind these are not confirmed to be the final changes to
It
gin
was their test card, yeah.
test card. Now, take it with a grain of salt. They might be all of these. They might be one of two of these, but the changes that they said that they've been playtesting is that Jin is no longer commander and is operative. She has agile, disengage, independent move, which is amazing, infiltrate, nimble, and yeah, that's what they said that she's gonna have new command cards and she's gonna be a melee skirmisher. Nick, tell us how you feel about this.
Well, I definitely wasn't expecting to do another Jin podcast, where I get to talk about Jin a ton. Yeah, and they said she was getting the biggest rework. That was the words they used. Um, so so yes, super excited that
Yeah.
we're getting this. Um, they shouldn't have told me those keywords because now I'm gonna be mad if any of those are not on the card when we get her.
Yeah.
Um, the disengage is really cool. That makes everything work with her because that's the problem with any melee unit that she's probably still not going to throw a ton of dice, right?
Right.
So how can she get away? If a squad of double squad of B1s attached to her, how does she ever get away? She's stuck for the whole game, right? She's never going anywhere.
Right.
So being able to disengage is nice. But what was interesting, and again, there was a test card. They could have just like left it off, but they did say infiltrate nimble, which they did not say danger sense. They did not
Yes.
they
I'm
did not
glad you
say it.
caught that.
And I'm actually not surprised. And I would not be surprised if danger sense just dies as a keyword
Mm-mm.
because it has not been the same since they've changed the panic rules. When you panic anytime, you can't use your danger sense like you did before. You won't score your objectives. So it's interesting that that wasn't there. And I feel like is that really, is it going away? Like, is she not gonna have it? And are the Pathfinders not gonna have it? And are the Pikes not gonna have it? I don't know. It seems, I don't know if they would take out a keyword, but they kind of already have somewhat, at least to the extent that I used to use it with Pathfinders and with Jin, with stacking that suppression after they've done their rally step and have had their objective, right? In the old rules. Now they can't do that anymore. So that was interesting that that was not there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I honestly agree with you. I think they are getting rid of danger sense because I think a lot of people didn't like it. I think a lot of people it frustrated them because when it worked, it's great, but a lot of times it didn't work, and it was just not fun for people to play that mechanic. And so I think you're right. I think they are going to get rid of danger sense and everything that they're adding. If they add it all in their final card, I think it's just amazing. I think she's going to be more annoying than ever.
Yeah. Getting three new command cards, that sounds wonderful.
Watch him
I
be bad.
no, I have faith. I have faith. The fact that they knew that they took away Jin's one pip from, well, part of her one pip from her was again surprising. Hey,
Yeah.
they do know. They do know Legion. So that was surprising. Um, I am a little concerned or about the operative because my operative spot is already jam packed. Now, they previously mentioned that all of our force org charts may be changing and so who knows, like, will the rebel force org chart allow 4 operatives, in the future? Because because if today I had her as an operative, man, I have really tough choices to make because I already have too many operas and I have no commanders I want to take. So she's always my commander. So I hope that works out in that sense because I would not like it to be just another operative and
Yeah,
be able to take two.
Would
that's
it
go ahead, Jose.
would it be too much? Like, I don't want to see Danger Sense taken out of the game, but the whole point of Danger Sense is like, ooh, something's happening. I need more defense. Would it make sense to make Danger Sense add X to your cover save?
Not
Like
because
cover one, but like
that's low profile. Then you're just doing a better
I
low profile.
no, I think the only way to save danger sense is the panic rule because that's just it. If I have unit pathfinder's table and I get shot and I duck and cover, and I get shot and I duck and cover, and I've already gone that turn and I'm staying on a point, well now am I panicked now? I'm probably not getting that point, right? So unless Jin's over there, right, with her 3 courage, that's the problem is that the constant check of panic and
Well,
not be able to score the points.
that's the thing now. Now that she's an operative, you can't use that courage too
And then
low.
yeah, now I can't even use that courage, right? So
Mhm.
yeah,
You know what I would like to see? With them mentioning that they're going to change how many commanders and operatives you can take for ranking wise. It would be cool to see like if you take X amount of operatives, then you one of them could be your commander.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, would they allow rebel force org charts not require commander? Because
Yeah.
you think about it, we a lot of times rebels don't have a commander.
Mhm.
They're not an they're not an army, right? Like
Right.
with rank. Um, so could they go, and I don't know, how that would work, right? And maybe there'd be some balance issues there, but if they could somehow go to a model where you don't have to take a commander in a rebel org force.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting because my thing was thinking like if you take 3 operatives, then you could have one be your minimum required commander. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That might get a little OP or too powerful, but who knows? Like that, because you're right, because they're mostly operatives. They're like Jin, in my opinion, didn't really make sense as a commander. Operative seems very nice, and same thing goes for Cassian. I don't even see him as a commander. You know what I mean?
They're commanders in the loosest sense of the word, right? In that they
Right.
led a mission, right?
Yeah.
They led that mission and they were the lead in that mission, but it wasn't anything official, right?
Right. Jose, how do you feel, man, about this new Jin that we may or
I'm
may not
ex
get?
I'm excited. I love Jin. You already know I played Jin like when I first jumped to Rebels, I played Jin. I love Rogue One. That was my jam. Pumped. Really excited to see what's gonna happen. I kind of want them to make a new. That's not gonna happen if it hasn't already been spoiled, in my opinion. But I want a hard plastic new Jin model.
Yeah, they haven't showed a model or said we're
New
getting
Jin,
a
new model.
model. Yeah,
New Jin, new model.
we're
Which is
getting what
interesting.
we're getting one
What,
Shatterpoint. We're getting a Jin and Shatterpoint.
which is funny because like there's a new Krennic model coming out.
Yeah, they did show that, but they
You
didn't
know,
show any new Rogue One models, right? I don't recall
No.
seeing any
no,
Cassian or Jin or
no,
anything like that.
no. So I think also that you think they're gonna change Cassian.
I mean, very likely, right? Because they already said that not all cards are changed, but quite a few are changing. So it's very likely he might have some changes. Maybe not as maybe they didn't mention because not as drastic as Jin, right? They said Jin's getting a complete rework. Maybe casting just changes a couple things on his cards, but like maybe his command cards don't change, right? Maybe it's just a small change.
Yeah. How bummed would you be if Jin didn't get 3 command cards?
I didn't even think of that. That would be terrible.
Aside from Boba, the new Boba for Rebels, and Mando, has there been an operative that got 3 command cards?
Luke,
No, no, no.
Vader.
I'm talking about the AMG did the operative
Oh,
wise.
the AMG is done.
Yeah,
Oh,
because they did Mando and then he has 3, and they did the Boba Fett Damio that has 3.
was Asajj AMG? I mean, it was right in the cusp there. Asajj got 3 cards as an operative.
Yeah,
That was
but Asajj is weird in the sense that one of her command cards you don't ever
It's
play.
for Dooku.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
you just play.
I didn't think of that. Now, I guess I said that'd be bad, but maybe I'll change my tune a little bit because I do already have too many command cards to take. So I get, if they gave me one really awesome command card, like the Bad Batch command card, a really awesome command card of just one for Jin, I'll take that. But I want a 1 pip probably.
Yeah, because like honestly, with this new independent move, I feel like you don't want to give her any orders, right?
Probably not, right? Yeah. Yeah.
One
So
pip
like,
with cunning for Jen.
yeah, like I feel like you could get maybe even a 0 pip like Han. I don't know.
That's a
Yeah,
Han thing.
they haven't shown
Sure.
doing anything like that yet, right? So I guess we don't know, but maybe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be okay with one really super good command card. I would be okay with that. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very exciting. All of those sound amazing. I wish they were on Dark Sith users because you just independent move, you're gonna get a dodge, and then you have nimble on top of that, and then you get to infiltrate. Like, oh man, this has got to be a dream right here, Nick.
The only bad part of this dream is that right now it's still just a dream.
Sure.
And goes back to the you gave me half a game crap.
Someone's gonna
and
get her body turn
and
one.
and now I'm still waiting, another out of what of 4 or 5 months or 6 months in total to get this card that I should have had when 2.6 came out.
See what you're
Like,
doing.
it makes no sense.
See what you're doing, AMG. We're losing Nick to MCP, and I guess that's still a win for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It don't matter. Yeah, so awesome stuff. Love those interviews. I love when we get new stuff because we had a couple weeks where we didn't really have any information or anything, and I know a lot of the guys are playing different games right now, so there's not a whole lot of battle rips to talk about.
He looked right at me when he said that, Nick. Thank you.
Dagger eyes coming at you.
I felt it.
They did also mention the objectives too, though, if you want to talk a little about that.
Yeah.
They did briefly say and hint that there would be new objectives that don't have to do with the POI in one place.
Yeah, they didn't really need to give any specifics, right? But
Sure.
it was more, I guess you could say, maybe interactive or not standard, something a little different that they will be coming up. But they did say nothing like it used to before. No hostage, no bomb cards, nothing like that, which makes sense because those are the games that they're trying to get rid of, right? Where it's just one thing you're going after. But yeah, they did say that having some variation, more variation in the primary objectives with the POIs. I guess we'll see what that means. More things you move or pick up, or I don't know, right? But they did say that they aren't going to do any more player place objectives. Right. That was one thing they did say. No, even with these new objectives we're going to get, they're not player placed. That's kind of, I think that's gone. I think.
Is that accurate though? Because technically, you do place POIs, right, in shifting priorities.
But that's after the game started, though. You don't set up with placing your objectives, right? Because it's no more, I'm just huddled in this corner, you're huddled in that corner with how I placed my objectives. They're out there where we want them or not. So,
which honestly, that's why I like shifting priorities. It's one of those unique ones where it can change the game drastically. I know, Jose, it's your favorite objective.
I love it.
So I would definitely like to see more missions like that where it could definitely change, where you got to make. I like missions where you have to make a hard decision. It's like, do I go chase the point or do I contribute to the battlefield? You know what I mean? Like it's fun. So yeah, so hopefully we do see some more stuff. Anything else in the interview that stuck out to you guys?
That was pretty much it for me.
They mentioned a little bit about like the faction advantages coming, which I'm excited about. But to be honest, like I miss the player place objectives. Like I know people hate them, but like they said some things in the interview. I'm like, man, it sounds like you guys just got your butt kicked in Legion all the time, and we're like, no, this has to change.
No, I agree. I agree
like,
with them.
Like, no,
I agree. Yeah, because like they were absolutely 100% right. When I placed my objectives down and my opponent placed his objective down, I knew at that point it was already a zombie game. Like I knew I was gonna win. There was no change.
Dude, zombie games happen in this version.
I don't think so.
I don't. Yeah, not as much.
Bro, my game with Mike was over round 2.
That was confidently. Round 2. Not over turn 0.
Yeah, dude, turn 0 is a zombie game. Turn 0 is a zombie game.
No. So here's the thing. I can confidently say, and I told you prior to him getting there exactly how I was gonna. The game to me was over turn one. I called it. I called every shot before that game even happened, and I knew after turn one, he had no shot.
But that's
I
different.
knew that.
But that's different than
How's that
it,
different? That's the same thing as
it's
as I
different. It's
place my
different. It's
boxes or
different.
my VAPs and I know I win.
It's
Like I
different as in if I had speeder bikes and we got bomb and run, I would have won and we didn't even have to play turn one, right?
yeah, here's the difference. If you take that exact same game and then JR stands across the table instead of Michael, is it over
the
turn
way the
two?
dice are rolling, maybe I should have played JR that day.
But
Once
but
again,
that,
you didn't
so
see it, Nick.
so
Nick, you
so
didn't
so
see
but
it.
you just answered the question though. You said maybe. That's not
So,
what those zombie games when you were hostage and they had Vader, it was over. And you don't have a force
but
user at all. That's
Here's the
that's
thing.
over.
That's how I felt.
They had to leverage. You have to leverage that. Like there has to be some give and take.
That's how I felt
Like
when I was playing Kyle in the top eight on the second year when I went to LVO when he was playing Blizzard Force.
Mhm.
It was pretty much over. Once the flop happened, I was just like, this there's no way I'm winning this, you know, because of
yeah, but
how
that's
skewed the list can get. And like
but
I agree that I don't want to see skewed lists anymore because it's not fun for somebody who got the advantage of the skew versus somebody who had the disadvantage of the
But
skew.
you know what you're getting into is the part that I have a problem with because if you know you're playing old Blizzard Force and
Mm.
you know that they hinge on winning their cards and then winning here and there, then skew against that. Like for instance, when what's his name? When Ollie won Worlds, he literally said, "Screw the meta. I'm going to skew against the meta. I'm going to skew against it." That's when he did the double buses with the comms jammers, and he won the whole thing. Yeah, he was going to have shit matchups into anything else, but he knew that BX Cheese was going to be a majority of the issue, so he counter skewed against that and won the whole thing. So my thing is, it comes down to the whole thing is and it's always been this way is do you want to do what you need to do to make sure you can counter a problem that you have, and a lot of the time people don't want to do it. Ollie had the field not been so full of EXD and he would have got matched up with other things, he might have taken more L's, but he took something that was specifically skewed for EXD
But
and
you're talking
then
you're, you're
rolled
talking
it.
about you're talking about building something against another army, not the objective, not the game itself. And he could play those skew objectives because he could play bombing run with that list. He had the speeders and everything else. So that's different than
But
compa-
you, as a
that
player agency, can build that. You can do that.
yeah, but that's different. Building against another army meta is different than trying to build against an objective in the game. And
Just,
true. You can, right? Everyone could have brought Blizzard Force and played those objectives, but is inherently the problem. If you're siphoning what armies could actually work, then you're leaving out everything else
but
when you
right
have those
now,
skew objectives.
there's no, in my opinion, there's no rock paper scissors anymore. In my opinion, there's because the POI system, the way it is now, there's no edge to anything. It literally
Isn't that
feels
good?
like
Isn't that
Yeah,
good?
I was gonna say,
Isn't
isn't that
that
what we
good?
wanted?
That's a good
That's what
thing.
we want.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
no, because everything is a bloodbath for an
Well,
objective.
hold on,
Like
hold on a minute, hold on a minute. You just said there's no skewing towards the objective, so you can bring whatever you want, and it could be good, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. You need to build your
when's the
list.
last time you seen three
You need,
Empire speeder
you need
bikes
to
on the
build your
table?
list with some synergies, right?
But
But
no, you
but
can't with
I'll build
this.
a list and get you 3 speeder bikes if you want. Like there's
They're not going to be good.
I don't know. We'll find out when I play.
It's
Like
not over turn zero though.
yeah,
It could
it's
work.
yeah. You don't know
You
because
you're telling me somebody's going to look at you across the table. Or let's not even throw JR because everybody's scared of JR. You're telling me that people, anybody, any player who's been playing this new version long enough is going to look across the table, whether you're playing GAR, whether you're playing CIS, whether you're playing Empire, whether you're playing anything else, and you see damn, this dude brought 3 Empire speeder bikes. You think that that's gonna worry anybody?
No, well,
Yes.
that's different. So you're again difference between being worried and knowing I have a good chance of winning this game versus the game is already over. We don't even need to play this game because I already know I won. That's what those objectives did. Yeah, you're gonna look across that table and say, "Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win this because I can beat this army." But you don't know. You don't know that for a fact, like you did with some of those other objectives.
And honestly, in this 2.6 meta, the things that you need in an army right now are mobility and durability. If you have those two things, I think your list is great because you got to cap points, you got to stay on the points, you got to survive on the points, right? Speeder bikes are notorious for getting to the point quickly and fast, right? It's just a matter of how long you keep them alive. That's why I think everyone says the BARC speeder is the best, is because it's got mobility and durability. Um, and I think that's what people should be looking at in the game. And I think that's what everything in the game should have, some kind of durability or mobility, because if they don't, they're kind of dead in their tracks, right? It's not that good of a unit. Um, but yeah,
This is just a gunline game, man. That's
That's still
and it's funny because that's why I like Aqua Droid so much. Is because to be a effective gunline, you got to be able to shoot the targets you need to hit, and
it's a
that wall
it's a gunline
changes
game.
that.
It's a gunline game now until the
It's
melee skirmisher Jin Urso shows up, and that's all gonna
I don't know. Like,
change.
it just sucks, dude. Like, there's no, it's a gun, and and I never thought I'd be JR here. Like, it's a gunline game because even if I sink into melee, you could just double move out of it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is a gunline game. There's no, because back in the day we had a melee skew versus a gunline skew versus a speeder bike skew versus a heavy tank skew versus a force user versus a Sith user versus gun operatives versus all this different angle flavor, and the game is just evolved into everybody pull your gun out. I guess I'm blasting. Like that
I
didn't
mean,
sucks, dude.
I don't disagree with you because I have never felt like my melee units are more useless in a game
Hmm.
than as of right now. Like, I don't think my force users are doing that hot because, there's got to go separate ways and, they can't kill everything because they can just withdraw and then move again. It's just like, it was always this, even in Old
It's
Legion. I know people disagree with me. It was hard to get your force users in there without burst of speed. Like burst of speed changed the game. I agree with that. But getting them in and then being safe was very important. Now there's
But
no speed.
you had to master that. Like
Sure,
nobody,
sure.
so that's the thing. Like this game is so new player friendly that it doesn't matter all the years you learn to like even before burst of speed, you were a fucking master, sorry, Nick,
Language.
at getting your melee, whether it be Vader, whether it be Maul, whether it be any, it could have been freaking Boba Fett. Like you were such a tactician, honed in on how to get it done, how to get it in, and that's it. There you go. That's your reward is I'm here, handle it or die. Now it's no matter how you do it, there's a way for the unfeels bad moment for the opponent to be like, cool, I'm just gonna bounce and now you're screwed. Like it shouldn't be that way. Like
But
I hate
I don't, and I agree with you, Jose,
I'm
but
you. I'm turning into you.
I don't think AMG cares about that. I don't think they care about my feelings towards that or your feelings towards that
I
because they want this to be very new player friendly. Because what happens when it's new player friendly? It sells, right?
But it's boring.
I think you're um giving that more credit than I think it is. Even if the withdrawal rules were the same today as the old rules, you would still probably feel this way because your force users still couldn't control the game
Right.
like it used to, right? So even if I couldn't withdraw without using my full activation, you would probably still feel this way. I think it's I mean, it feels maybe a little worse, but I think it's a little moot in that sense because of the fact that you can't pick up the objective and carry it around with you is why your force user feels not as powerful.
Well, that and they also took out the like OP stuff in forces, like force choke, force push
Standbys.
costing a
Force
lot.
Force push is still there. Quit saying it's
No,
gone. It's
no,
still
I
there.
mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying it's really expensive. Like,
They
uh,
lowered all your points. It's not more expensive.
it is more expensive, Nick.
No, it's not.
I want more things, not more powers.
I think I think that's where it's getting me right now because like Jer's right. I'm having way more fun playing MCP. And the reason I'm having way more fun playing MCP is because like the tactical way you approach that game, whether it's from a fun aspect or it's from straight up like I got to do this way, like there's play to it, there's give and take to it, like it's not I'm just gonna run up and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. It's you actually have to kind of play like a little mini chess match almost. Like I said, like it just doesn't feel this way with Legion anymore. Like it feels like let me get up two activations and then let's just keep fighting
It
until we're all dead.
sounds like both of you need to play more Rebels because I still feel like every game I play is a chess match because I gotta think about what I'm doing.
I play
Otherwise,
white
I die.
Hey,
saves. I play
Otherwise, I die.
B1s.
not anymore with Rebel Cell, baby. Just move and
Sleep,
shoot, baby. Move and shoot.
yeah, Sleeper Cell definitely is a game changer for sure for Rebels. We've never had a unit that could throw that many dice for that low points. Never.
It's
You know,
so
we used to pay
so good.
we Rebel Vets was our big dice pool unit, and they cost more points, and they throw 4 black and 4 white. So
It is crazy how cheap, and it's so hard not to compare units to each other that it because it gets very irritating, you know. But I don't know. I'm still having fun playing the way it is. Legion's my baby. I love playing that game. But yeah, I agree with you, Jose. It's definitely become a gunline heavy game.
And I'm the
Um,
gunline gamer. That's the sad part.
yeah, and melee is kind of like that's what I'm interested when they said that Jin's gonna be a melee skirmisher. Like, and I agree with you, Nick. I don't think she's gonna throw a whole lot of melee dice.
probably not, right?
So, like, is she gonna be good in that sense? Because if they're gonna get rid of danger sense and cover is what it is, like, I don't know if one dodge can
Is
save
her
her.
do you think her pistol's gonna get like charge and like all the other pistols be used in melee?
No, I can't wait not the charge keyword, right? But give her the melee to like melee to range.
Yeah.
No, because she has her stick. She likes fucking people with the stick. That's what it does.
It's gonna
No,
be white dice now.
I am curious what they do for her defensively
Red
um
saves.
because even if she's in melee, the dice in melee has grown so
Right.
much, right?
Yeah.
Because like the B2s, the fleets, the arcs, how they could throw their range dice in melee, the double squads, how much dice they can throw in melee. If Jin runs into any of those squads, she's dead. unless they do like yes, like you just mentioned, was a red saves or they do something. I don't
I
know what
could
else
see her
they could
getting red
do.
saves.
Maybe that would be cool. And that's probably the only way she could survive. Because even when I have Mando running into those units, he's dying because it's
Well,
just so many dice.
the reason I say like red saves make sense is because when you look at like 5 health
Hold
red
on a
save
minute.
units,
Hold
they're
on a
like,
minute.
oh, that's a frail unit. So
The
why not give Jin, who's 5 health, right? She's
things
five
that
health. Give
normally
her red
get
saves,
six
and now
health.
she's still frail.
The things that normally get red saves usually are wearing armor.
Yeah,
Yoda's not
just
wearing
not.
armor.
Well, Yoda's a force user though,
Yeah,
but
yours is
and, so,
first user.
and same with Palp. She probably stays a white save, and I actually kind of maybe hope she does because otherwise her points go up drastically if she's red save. That's the only way she stays cheap if she's
She
white
goes back to
save.
her regular points. That's still cheap.
No, that's too expensive. I can't pay that much for her. Unless she does
Oh
well,
my
and again,
God,
I
Nick.
guess I
He's
guess
never
it,
happy.
no, no, no,
Hey,
no, no.
hey,
I say that with that she throws the same amount of attack dice, right? She throws 3 attack dice or 4 attack dice. Like so, no, so if you want to make her 120 points again, right? Then okay, then I better be throwing like 7 dice or
So
something,
she
right? I
she
need to
has
be throwing
armor,
a lot
JR.
more.
She had armor in Rogue One. She was wearing the Imperial security armor.
That for that
Russia.
5 seconds
It's
when
red
they
dice, Nick. It's red dice. Shut up.
Hey, honestly, what I want Jin to be is what Force user should be. If she comes out and she's like a melee truck, like then awesome. Cause like, and that's what I want Force users to be. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, So yeah, on that note, guys, that's all we got for you. Cool changes overall. You know, pretty happy with the changes that are coming out right now. Seems like they're going in the right direction. I know the game is not entirely, you know, at its best, but it's definitely a lot more fun than what it used to be, in my opinion.
This game is better today. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Everyone play. Everyone play. It's better. It's fun.
it is better. It is better. It's definitely taking some time to change your thinking patterns in Old Legion for sure.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Still waiting for this rest of that Kickstarter to kick in so I get the rest of my units.
In April, baby. In April.
Go support AMG so we can get the rest of the game published.
What about you, Jose? Any final words?
Waiting for Aqua droids to break the meta.
Well, thank you guys for watching. And of course, thank you guys for joining me. We'll see you guys next time.
Merry Christmas!